Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OSL Week 7, Day 3. We have a jam-packed day of action for you today, so let's get right into it as we are already loading in. First up, we have Catjam versus Reactor, obviously starting at 5:30 p.m. AEDT. Our first set is Dredge. It is Catjam's pick. We will then be playing Oni, picked by Reactor, and ending off with a Spirit TB. Obviously, for this set, we do have Smunk on the killer and Hasso, who is joining me today. First off, how are you,
Yes,
brother?
sir.
But will obviously be commentating this match with me.
Yes, I'm doing very good. I'm keen. I was actually saying to you earlier, mate, we have a mid-witch set and one that I absolutely love. And what a start from Sir Smunk spotting out these survivors nice and early. This is absolutely the key that you need. Sloppy Butcher will be coming into effect now. Chief, I don't know if that's just me or you've noticed it as well. Is that all shaking thunder coming into effect?
It is
Oh
indeed,
my
and I have to be
god.
honest, Hasso, I'm loving it. I think All Shaking Thunder is such an underrated perk. I have praised it to the nth degree on DDS, and I got to very recently see it on a Ghostface Midwich set, and I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was incredible. The amount of value it got. Speaking of getting value, Sir Smunk is using Field Recorder to its fullest right now. He's already gotten his first down and has located another survivor, Biru, who has to last on this pallet. And if you know anything about Dredge, lasting on a pallet is exactly what's not easy to do. So that's a guaranteed tag there. And in the background, Lynx has been unhooked and FTP'd by now, but they haven't had much time to get away. Look at this. Sir Smunk has teleported all the way back bottom 6 and is right back on Lynx's tail. We're venturing over to this side, bottom 9, dropping another pallet. But once again, the power of Dredge. We're not going to be able to play it for all too long without taking that tag. And that tag does indeed come through. Lynx will now be venturing, hopefully, to one of his god pallets. The only place you can guarantee a bit of safety on this map against the Dredge. But no! Hasso, we haven't had god 11 spawn. I don't know if you've just noticed that, so we've had to play to 12. That's tragic. For those who aren't aware, obviously, Midwich did have some RNG changes. We didn't have this pallet either. What is this RNG? Oh my word, that is the worst possible scenario you could be in. And now Hasso, we're stuck in the same pallet we saw Biru get tagged on a bit earlier. Sir Smunk hasn't been able to get the tag this time, but I will dare say with nothing else to play around but the pallet all the way at gate 12. This will be Lynx's second down for only a single gen popping.
Yeah, I mean, look, the RNG, Chief, I cannot lie to you, is pretty cooked. Diabolical, if you will. To have two really strong pallets, the God pallet they're missing in, and that little one, I believe that is 6 or 5 on the map.
11.
5, so 11, okay, same thing. 11 on the map, so this is 6, but yeah, 11 on the map, that is, yeah, rough. You know, missing out on really key things like that can really screw your game over. And the TP from nowhere, Biru's been completely caught off guard. That is going to be a down onto Biru. Now, Sir Smunk is in a beautiful position to slug here. That Sloppy Butcher will be cooking up a storm. That perk is problems in every level, every scene. It is diabolical. Honestly, don't really know how to describe it. We saw it on Wraith yesterday. We saw, I believe it was Too Savage bringing it along. And, I mean, this is really nicely done from Sir Smunk. This is a death at 4 gens remaining. Now, in a situation like this, the survivors would start to panic because, Chief, they're all injured, right? So they're going to get a reset here, a double reset. That is beautiful. You love to see that. But it is real problems here because I don't think they have much gen progress, and if they do, they're not on generators, so that all those gens are just getting regressed. And honestly, it's looking real problems here because that ruin is staying into effect, and Sir Smunk is definitely looking at a 4K so far, Chief.
Oh, 100%. This is almost guaranteed to be a 4K if Sir Smunk is able to keep up the momentum he's at already. Like you said, Ruin has ticked away at all our gens because we spent so much time resetting, and now I have a little bit of an insight about how Dredge dredge sets even should be played on the survivor macro side because, and not to brag here, but I will be doing a little bit of subtle bragging. I've played a dredge set with Dan No Mercy IGLing me, and I have to say, when you have a man like that telling you what you need to do, you don't end up in situations like this very often, but something he believes entirely is that resetting, especially in the 4v1 against the dredge, even more so with Sloppy Butcher, is a waste of time. You just need to play injured, you need to play separated, you need to basically play quadrants on the map, do not be near each other at all costs, and do not get reset, because you waste so much time and you just need to be splitting gens and trying to get as much done for your chases. Unfortunately, we've not done that. We've popped a single gen. Biru's gen, obviously, there you can notice in the background, is about 75% now. We don't have Pain Res to be slowing it down because Pain Res on Midwich is kind of doo-doo water and no one likes to play it because who likes getting pissed over by their hooks all being top and you're down 7 with a down? Unlucky, mate. But speaking of unlucky, Biru was immediately spotted. He does have the life to be able to avoid a tag initially, but with this door broken, Monk will be able to walk him down and get a tag as we vault over this pallet 9. A very bad tag to be taking. I know we have the door here as well, so we're not going to have the window to play around. That's mighty unfortunate. The pallet drop to 10 is all we have left, and we've seen how this has gone so far for everyone who has been able to play it. But Biru, heads up play there, decides to leave the pallet when he's given the choice. All the way back to 9 now. We'll have to play around this pallet for his life, but with a remnant down, there's not much else you can do. So that's Biru on the ground, and dare I say, Monk's going to probably spend the rest of the game slugging these survivors. We don't need to hook. We don't need to worry about the pressure. We have Ruin up, and with Field Recorder still putting us in Nightfall. We started off, and then we're able to build it with how many tags we've gotten. Following that, oh my word, Duck Dewey as well here, just caught off guard entirely. The lag there. First Monk needs to fix that net immediately, but that's another survivor on the ground, still in Nightfall. We did just see Zanow's killer instinct somewhere as he ran through bottom hallway here. And this is just a 4k4 hassle. We've managed to do it. I am lost for words. We spent so much time talking about All Shaking Thunder, and I don't think he procced it once.
I mean, the perk is weird, but there is no doubt he's clearly... But one thing I love, and I really will say so many times, the one thing I love about Monk is the variety of killers. You see, you know, you see your Sens, your Backies, the people that play, you know, those M2 heavy, strong killers, but this man also plays a lot of variety killers you don't really see often played, and that's what I love, because it changes the dynamic of Monk, and it puts him in a different level, because I think he really does master. Catjam, I've got a very good pick in the big Monk. He is a great player. You know, he's not a survivor player for those who are new, but he is definitely the killer player that they play for his sets every week, and that is something that, you know, you got to take out of it. Monk, a very, very confident player on his killers. I think he's really only had, you know, I believe it was Synergy versus some other, I believe it was Omen, which last season, which is a close one, and we saw, you know, Neckbeard come up across Monk, and I think that's the only time I've seen this man ever lose a dredge. He is very bloody confident on this killer. I've only seen him lose once. So you know what, Catjam sitting in a really beautiful position. Chief, I don't want to say it, but I mean it definitely looks like they're taking like 99.95% chance that they're taking this first set.
I mean, I have to agree, Hasso. I don't see a world where they're losing it after that performance. Monk has single-handedly put the team on his back for Dredge. And for those who aren't all aware, I don't think Monk is even Catjam's Dredge player. We do have the household name of Fizz, who would normally be picking it up. She has not played the killer today, which I think is a bit out of character. I'm not too sure why that decision was made, but regardless, it's obviously paid off in spades for Catjam. So Monk secured a 4k4 after all of that. So maybe we might be seeing the man returning to the killer in a more permanent position for the team. Now we'll just have to find out if they pick it again. And I'm sure, knowing how strong they looked just then, it's something they're going to be looking to do. But you know, I think a fair few teams might also be thinking about what they need to ban against Catjam more carefully now.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no doubt you don't. Whatever you do, you never ever against this team. I mean, Chief, there's not really a killer that you can't pick because all of the killers that you wouldn't think would be usually picked, Monk plays them. So, you see a lot of Cenobites getting banned, so all these other killers getting banned, but I think overall, I mean, it really does say something about him and what killers he likes to enjoy, and he's heavy on the dredge. We obviously know Fizz is a dredge player. I've never seen Fizz play, but there is no doubt that this team is fairly confident with those killers that aren't really expected. And, other teams don't really have a main player like a Cenobite. You don't really have a Cenobite. I think Andrew's the only other option I can really think about of a team who have a dedicated Cenobite player. Monk is being the other one out of those two. So Monk and Andrew. So there's not many that actually have dedicated, killers or work around a certain killer. And, these boys all know what they're doing. So you know what? We're gonna load in shortly to Catjam Survivor. Chief, I mean, you can't say that they wouldn't get this win con because you'd be shocked if they didn't.
I think now this is probably going to sound a bit harsh, but I'm saying this out of love because obviously we all know and love the Catjam team. We're all close friends on the staff team, and I only say this because, like I said, I know them quite well. I'd be really, really disappointed if they didn't manage to take this set. It would be honestly a pretty poor showing. And once again, I like to say this a lot when it comes to OSL matches. Crazier things have happened. It could happen. They could get 4K5 here. It is a killer that is notoriously either 4 stages or a 4K4. Dredge seems to swing to one end of the pendulum or the complete other, and there's kind of no in between. And I think that is what I love about this killer so much, because it really does just feel like it could go any way depending on how both experienced the survivor and the killer teams are, or the killer player and the survivor team even, and then also just the luck of the draw, basically, depending on like I said, we had 2 pallets 11 that just didn't spawn. We missed a god pallet that set, and that was crucial. It basically cost us a down on our tunnel out, and things like that. Now that we have RNG on the map, are huge, and they can swing games, especially when the map is already so weak. I want to say for survivors, it's not a typically strong map, and you're playing a killer who is specialized to function basically perfectly against survivors on this map, right? You have a bunch of pallets. Your windows are god windows, but they're also completely counterable by remnants. Pallets are also obviously completely counterable, and because they're all enclosed, you can't just do the normal dredge gameplay of, oh, he's dropped a remnant, he's really slow, I'm gonna run away, because you can't run away. Most of the time, you're in a corner. So it's a real give and take on this map with dredge, and I think it's why, like I said, truly anything can happen. Do I think it will though, Hasso? No. No, I don't think we're going to be getting 4K5s. I'd really hope we can pop 2 gens to win. And if we
Yeah.
can't, I think we're gonna be seeing some tears from Mr.
Yeah.
Caster Chief.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, very, very doable 2 generators. I mean, seriously, you get 4K3, it doesn't matter, you win. So send it. 2 generators, double them, triple them, quad them. I don't even know if I think you can quad 1 generator, but you just need to pump them all out. It doesn't matter. You need to get 2, at least 2. As we load in with Prada, them playing the dredge. Never seen Prada play this killer. But I mean, look at that lineup. We have Mercy, Heart Catjam, love to see it. Maya, Fizz, Leggy, absolute stacked lineup. That's what we love to see. Great people, as always. And, this is going to be the first survival, which will be Maya. Now, Chief, the question I have to ask you is, the win con that we're playing for is it's a 4K5, right? So, on the side of Prada. So, how do we, if we do pull this off, how do we do it? Do we have to hit and run? We cannot allow long chases at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, this start has already not been what you need. We didn't find a survivor immediately with Star Killer Instinct. The best case scenario is when you find one survivor off the bat with Field Recorder is you find more than one because they've all spawned on top of each other, and you're basically just finding them all clumped up in group. Maya also making that pallet getting smashed hit, no less, is really bad. Really bad. And I think if you are Prada, you already need to be considering leaving this chase, which, as you can see, he hasn't agreed with, but he's done something incredible there. We've cut off Maya entirely. Unfortunately for Prada, we did have the God Palette 11 to play to, and I think Maya was so focused on that we didn't recognize Prada had teleported to cut us off. So that will be Maya on the ground. Our first hook taken for a gen, which is the tie condition already. The tie condition has been met. I want to point out, we have received 2 little bits of info about the current state of this set. One being, Circe Monk has, quote, said, "My work here is done and is now on Marathon." He's already done with DBD for the day, so good job, Smunk. You've done your job there. But Prada has informed us that he is in the complete opposite position, obviously being the main killer player for Reactor. He has no experience on Dredge and has asked Catjam to please be kind.
I mean, that is pretty funny on the side of Sir Monk. I can't lie, that's getting a fat giggle out of me because honestly, I love Sir Monk. I don't think anyone dislikes the man. He's an absolute top bloke, but that is golden. But Chief, the next thing, Pain Res. We know this perk on this map is an absolute gamble. You are playing with you're playing with a fireball that is about to go, you know, extraordinarily big. Like, it's ridiculous. So, I guess, you know, Pain Res on this map, if you get really good spawns, of course it's great like any map, but you're playing with such a risk to bring this perk. We saw 3 of those hooks in the last down, which was onto Maya. We saw 3 of the hooks were all in one area, then there was 1 down below. So I believe there's 2 on the lower level, 2 up top, but see, so down that corridor is 2 Pain Reses. We just saw that. We are going to win a nice little 50, and we're going to win another 50. This is really nice from Maya, so no doubt about this. Even another one. Oh my god, what is going on? That's the next gem popping. We are going to double vault this and go down vault. That is a lovely chase on the side of Maya. But that will spell the end here. Well, this set at least, and we're going for the beamer, and no, not today, Mercy. A little bit too late on that. There's the 3rd generator popping. Bang! This is a really, really good performance from Catjam, from where, you know, Circe Monk putting on an absolute incredible performance. But I think either way, I mean, they're very confident on this set. I know that for sure. They picked this set because they're confident on it. You don't pick a set if you're not confident on both sides. You would not pick a Blight set if you're only confident on the killer and not confident at all on the survivor. So,
say that,
you know, yeah.
That's exactly what I do. I pick it because we have a good killer and we kind of so, you know what?
Yeah, but I think, you know, very nicely done here, by the way, just to say, from Mercy, really, really nicely done. We're just crouching again, and we're going to vault. Oh, my goodness, very nicely done. But, yeah, Chief, it's the end, but what's the best result we play for now? We're looking at, what do you reckon, the best result, maybe 7, 8 stages? That's really good, I guess, from the situation we're at now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think a lot of our gen progress is probably been completed. I think we probably only have this gen here that we do just here at Courtyard being worked. I think everything else is probably pretty low progress at this point. If we are able to secure a death onto Maya relatively quickly from here on out, despite the fact that I believe she probably still has 2 God Palettes left, we're not choosing to play the one at 8. Because against Dredge it is a little sketchy. We're just going to pass all the way to top 8, play our Piano Room Palette instead, which for a Dredge is normally guaranteed death. And I need to point out, actually, in fact, we're going to take the zone, so Maya will be dead regardless. This is, unfortunately, the tunnel nut that I was talking about. Never mind, Fizz is here, but we got taken the hit just in time, so that will be Maya on the ground and out of the trial with 2 generators remaining. The Cracker is not going to be able to do enough. This isn't a Pain Res. We did obviously use it the first time, but here is one of those Pain Res hooks that you identified. We had one top 7 and right next to it top 8. This Gen in Courtyard does pop. I believe this is Leggy here. It is indeed. Leggy will be taking a tag and is now up to build the house for Prada. Swinging through it to no avail. Leggy, now go drop a pallet and build yourself a castle, darling. That's all you got to do from here on out. And that's what we're trying to have Prada get around, and unfortunately he's just not been able to do it. So instead of playing around a little jumpy bouncy castle, he's going to go depart and find another survivor to play with. Although he's not been able to do that just yet. Because we're on 8, we're doubling. Gen's 50%. It's not going to be popping anytime soon. Mercy's holding that sprint burst. We're not going to get a tag from this teleport either. That is mighty unfortunate. But consolidation prize, there is Eruption on this Gen now. We've spotted Fizz out once more as well. Top 6. She has chosen to take the drop down. Prada is a little bit lost here, not really knowing what he should be doing at this point, and I can't blame him. Honestly, you're in a bit of a sticky situation. You need to be protecting your gens, but you don't have Ruin to be doing so. Playing that hit and run playstyle isn't going to be all too effective, and getting Sluggy is going to prove to be quite challenging. Unfortunately, I think you are right in saying this is probably going to be stages from this point forward. Although, look at these gens. We have top 7 and top 9 that are very close by. And is this on stairs 11? Wait, these gens are actually completely horrible for our survivors. I've just noticed they're not going to be easy to work at all. So maybe there is a chance for Prada to be able to play beautifully now. The only thing I want to talk about Prada's play is just his mechanics with the Dredge. You know, we have seen a few things that kind of reflect that, you know, he probably isn't the most confident Dredge player. We discussed that, you know, in the pre-match chat, he did say, please be kind, I don't play Dredge. And unfortunately for Prada, that has come to show. You know, there were some chases, especially on Maya, and that interaction with Mercy on the God window, bottom 9, I believe it was pretty reflective that Prada isn't the most experienced Dredge player, you know. A lot of the chases on Maya, I talked about with Surf Monk how you use your Remnant to make sure that they are stuck in a corner, they can't just run away from the pallet, and you're going to get a hit no matter what. Prada didn't do that. A lot of his remnants were on the wrong side. Speaking of being able to get a hit, I thought he was about to get one on Mercy for free, but she's just narrowly avoided that. Wins this 50. Never mind, no, she doesn't ping. Has cost you there. There's not as much distance as you thought you had. That's the tag. We nearly have Nightfall. We're all the way back. Top 8. Fizz is on the gen. Gonna leave just in time to not get tagged, but I'm not too sure we have much to play around. We're gonna take the drop down bottom 6. Prada will follow trying to get another tag, but not too sure he's going to want to commit to that, so we've teleported all the way to 12. We're at 1 now. We've spotted the reset. This is actually where things can get out of hand. We're stuck, Prada! No! We're giving Leggy all the room he needs to be able to play around this pallet, but we've decided to leave it, and we are down because of that. Mercy is now running around somewhere on the 3 side of the map, still injured, but we've opted to go towards up 9 we are now currently, trying to find Fizz out, and we've not been able to just yet. Mercy will be roaming around, maybe even getting that pick. Prada is all too aware of that, so we've come right on back to Leggy, and this is Mercy right here, going to be on the ground right with our friend. Never mind, Prada's just missed the swing, but there's no pallet bottom 1 to protect us. That pallet didn't spawn this time around. Mercy will be forcing the locker. Leggy's back on his feet as Fizz has been able to collect him just in time. We did see him loaming in the background there. Our first hook onto Mercy as well. I mean, look, like I was saying, the game kind of did snowball as soon as we entered that 3v1. I think we are still in a pretty decent position to be getting 4K'd. I know that Janet 7 has a fair bit of progress. Prada is around here looking, but he's not going to be able to find anybody just yet. I think they've both left towards the 11 side of the map. So it is now up to our killer of Prada to find our survivors yet again. And we're on the hunt. We don't have any Nightfall left to be able to use our killer instinct procs, but we don't even need it. We've managed to locate Fizz once again, top 5 now, and Prada's going to do his best to chase. We're playing some mind games there. Instead, we've realized we're probably walking into a dead end. I think he's not caught on to that in time, but he's teleported away back to the gen, stairs 11. We found Leggy, who's just walked right into his embrace, and Prada will be able to collect this down. We're not going to make the pallet just in time. Swing, buddy, and that's Leggy once again on the ground, and now we have another interesting choice to make. The gens, as you see there, have regressed a fair bit. Leggy is going to get hooked basically on top of them. We might be able to even make a pain res. I can see that we do have this one. Bottom 8. Oh my word. By the way, speaking about what you're talking about earlier, so these pain reses are tragic. Bottom 8, top 8, and top 9 is brutal.
I mean, you said it. You're taking the words out of my mouth, Chief, because yeah, these gens are not fair at all for these, pardon me, the survivors. I mean, I'll tell you what, Prada's playing this very nicely. Not over-committing, just trying to get a hit, couple tags. But one thing I will say, Chief, is eventually, now that gen's gone to 0. At a point, it was like 70. So problems here on the side of Catjam. It doesn't matter. Already got the set. They want to get out, and we're just going to make it the vault. So, it's not great, the gens at all. They're honestly terrible. We do spot out a survivor here, and we've caught two lovely people in the open, and bang, oh, we almost got spun there. Now, I would have lost it if we got spun there, but we are going to get a tag and commit this onto Mercy Death now. Oh, no. So there's no pallet there, and we've just thought there is. So this is the problem with the RNG, Chief, is even the killers get a little bit lost. That's going to be a down onto Mercy. We've only just started working in Gemma 2, splitting here. Yeah, Chief, I can't say anything else. I really think this is just a 4K1 considering the gens, but it doesn't... I said 7 or 8 stages, but it just doesn't look like that. I mean, the pressure will eventually build on Prado, and he'll have to make a bit more of a move. But you know, if he doesn't hit these gens and he lets them just go a little bit and then hit them when they get high, that'll be the smarter play. But overall, those gens are going to get hit so many times where they'll just start to block on him. So, you know, I think there is a spectator bug which causes the spikes not to show. So that is a bit frustrating because we don't know how far in we are. But hold on a minute. This is working a generator. That's 61%. You're going to opt to go straight back for this unhook. And, you know, Prada just making sure he picks the right locker. This gen is not going to end up popping. We're going to break a pallet now. Chief, 4K1. Is that what we can agree on? What do we think?
Look, I'm a bit worried for the state of Catjam, especially when you have Fizz running into the killer that's here on the ground. I mean, problems now. This is another pain risk. We're not close by to any of them, as you can see. Look at that. I mean, that corner will never not be funny to me. They're all right here. We do make this 1-9, though. It's also on top of the gen. I mean, that's really problematic, isn't it, Hasso? But look, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a 4K1. I think there was a chance if Fizz didn't go down right there. Oh my word, speaking of going down right there, Leggy meeting the exact same fate Fizz did. I think the 4K1 is about to be secured. We're in Nightfall, so we have Killer Instinct whenever we place down a Remnant Aura in a locker and a nearby A survivor, so Mercy will not be able to stealth for all too long. That was something I was going to touch on a bit earlier. Obviously, the position you're in, you kind of want to stealth and let the killer play for regression instances and run out of those because you're out of pallets on the side of the map. Maya's chases were all here. They were top and bottom 9 to 11. And there are no pallets left for us to work around in this 3-gen, and unfortunately that does mean that you kind of just need to run out of regression and play distance, but that also requires a lot of stealthing, and you can't really stealth the Dredge all too effectively when they're in Nightfall, because like I said, you get a bunch of Killer Instinct, and the longer you spend stealthing, the more time the Dredge has to get his Nightfall up by sitting in a locker, and it's what we saw Prada do a fair bit. Obviously now, he's getting to play very aggressive. He's using that Killer Instinct to cut survivors off. Leggy's on the ground, and Fizz will be very, very shortly. I'm not too sure how much we have left, but we're teleporting away. I think we're going to try and find Mercy, who's also right here. Oh, yeah, we're all right here. So I think this will once again be a guaranteed 4K1 from this point moving forward. I don't think too much else you can be doing. Mercy's tried to fake a window there, but it's not paid off just yet. We've run to a pallet we knew was dropped a bit earlier, so that will be Mercy finally on the ground and looking to be hooked and exiting the trial. 0-7 Soldier. That will be the 2v1 secured, and with the amount of gen progress we have, the lack of resources, I do think the 4K1 is all but done, but you know, it really didn't matter. Smug 4K forward. They've already won the set, so this is the first set to Catjam, but considering the start they did have, I feel like they could have done a fair bit better, you know? I don't want to be too critical. They obviously dominated this set. This was a very dominant performance, but it really did look like they were going to get outs. And, you know, I think that goes to show how difficult a Dredge set can be the later you get into it. Things can kind of fall apart from, honestly, seemingly nothing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things happen. We're opting to go for the reset here. We do have empathetic connection. Love to see that in the books. But, yeah, as I said, things can happen. You don't want to be too critical of this team because, honestly, they have played, of course, you're not being critical, but they have played very well, Chief. And, I mean, the question now lies. I believe that Catjam is yet to win a game. Now, this season at least. So, I sort of got a question. We have Oni next. Not to get off this game too much of a take chase onto Fizz, but we have Oni up next. I am really curious to see who will be playing the Oni set for Catjam. But overall, I think both these teams can put up a really strong fight. Obviously, it being Not so it's not Catjam's pick. It's I can't even remember what's the team's name. I've completely forgot.
Reactor.
Reactor. Okay, it's just taken me a second. I'm like, I've got it in my brain, but Reactor, their team's pick. So this is gonna, be a 4K1, but there is no doubt that the only set is gonna be really, really, really interesting. You, you just whatever you do, I'm hoping. I love the Catjam people, of course. No bias towards them, as you don't want to have any bias, but I think if they can really lock in and hold that first tag for the Oni set, that'll be really good. But this stretch set, they've played really nicely. Unfortunately, they didn't get outs, or they're not gonna get outs. But we are gonna win a 50 here and get leggy. But yeah, like I said, they've played this really, really nicely, and yeah, won't be outs, but a 4K1 Chief. There's a lot to digest out of this game on both sides. I think Reactor will definitely have a look back at where they went wrong against the big man, Sir Smonk. So, that man he's a beast. You don't want to get in the wrong street with him, because I know for sure he will. He will do what it costs for his team. So, we love this. This will be a 4K1 spell. So Fizz will go down here now. Chief. 4K1 to 4K4, that is Catjam taking the first set. It's going to get to Oni. We've got Oni up next. I want your honest take. What is the key point for... Because obviously being a Reactor's kill, like I said, they're obviously more confident, or from what we know, more confident on the Oni. What can Catjam do in a situation like this, where they've got one set, the momentum is now on their side, they just need to carry it over to the next set? How do they, especially after a result like this, how can they push forward with the momentum?
Well, for Catjam now, it is obviously really important to just kind of have a really standard Oni set, It's easier said than done against Oni. You just want to not get tagged and have a decent enough chase, not give them power, pop 2 gens, and then blah, blah, blah. The game goes as following. You get 7 stages, you wrap it up with a bow, and that's all said and done, right? That's an Oni set. It's probably the second most, if not the most refined set in all of competitive Dead by Daylight, right? I think it's the
Yeah.
most stock standard. It has a very clear game plan. You kind of know exactly what you need to do. You don't even really need an IGL to macro you if you just have enough experience. You pretty much all need to know. You all know what you need to be doing at all times. There's not much that needs to be said and done, right? Same with
Yeah.
uh Same with Blight. I think Blight stuff is a bit harder, but household sets that you always see, you only see T1 definitely is 1 or 2 for me. We'll just have to see how this one goes. We will obviously have the same setup. It will be Reactor's killer, Prada. Like I said, main killer player for them. We saw it throughout all of Division 2. The guy rocked it on everything, was an absolute powerhouse. It's the reason they're in Division 1 right now. And also, for Catjam, it will be a pretty similar survivor lineup, but instead of Fizz, we have picked up Rothy. Big man is back for another week. You love to see it. The guy hopefully is going to be able to put on an incredible performance, and our killer player after that will be another very special man who will be making his return. And I'm gonna say it. I'm pretty excited to see it. And I hope the man is able to clutch it up for the team. No biases from me, except for the biases I did just very clearly show where I want Ketchup to win. But I'll stay neutral for the cast, right, gang? You got my promise there, but I am for sure in my heart rooting for my friends over at Catjam. It's always nice to see a team pick up their first win of the season. I feel like there's obviously Reactor. I believe Reactor haven't won a game either. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Hasso. I'll just take a quick look at that. Yeah, Reactor. Oh no, Reactor are 1-5, so they have won a game. Which also for them, I'm very glad to see that. Like I said, they were a Division 2 team. Played against them a few times in Division 2, actually. And I know, Hasso, you had the lovely pleasure of casting their games, and also the game that I played against them, which was just a joy for everyone involved. Honestly, if you weren't able to be there on the day, make sure and you go watch that, because Prada put on a masterclass. Honestly, um, but yeah, basically, he's going to need to do the same thing tonight. He's going to need to do what he did in Div 2. He's going to need to put on another masterclass if he wants to take this, because I don't think 7 stages, your expected only result, granted, ping, so it should be a bit more, but I don't think 7 stages is going to be able to cut it against Catjam tonight, Hasto.
Oh, Chief, it's gonna be close. It really will. If I'm being brutally honest with you, Chief, I think my favorite set in OSL or just competitive, oh, it has to be Oni. I love it. I love Oni. I love Cold Tower. I think it blends. Just they're so it's such a good bond of the two maps. Now, you know, Prada obviously playing the killer here, running a stock standard build. Most players run this, so majority of the players run this, running speed and 33% blood orbs, more frequent. So, you know, we have, I'm not too sure what our gens are looking like. We see that corrupt. Now, that is actually not too bad. That is really nice. And we're going to swing straight through and bang! May has been hit very, very early on as soon as she's been spotted. That is unfortunate. Now, Maya has to last here and has to come as soon as Prada leaves, because if you don't, the problem is this killer will just go 13% speed with the add-on and zoom around the map. Now, this is real problems, Chief. An early tag. This is not what you want. And truth be told, you know, this killer really comes down to who gets the first tag when, because Oni is a terrible killer with just an M1 killer, literally, until it gets its first hit. Very nicely done from Maya. That is the first generator popping. We are probably going to leave very shortly, unless we commit this, and we are going to commit this. We do spot a payments to the right side of the map, so we are going to have a little bit of progress working on these gens, and I love to see these survivors all working. Now, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, Oni should be a killer that you get outs against, from what we know.
100%. Absolutely 100%. On CT1, Oni is outs. Unfortunately, I think Maya's first tag came a bit too quickly for outs to be guaranteed. We did have a 4-gen top, and we were able to break it for the first chase at gen. I believe it was at 3. I'm not too sure. It might have been at 9. No, it was at 3. It was at 3. Indeed, it was the first gen that popped. It was doubled. We have another gen, I believe it is this one here at 11, that was also being worked in the background. But problems now as Leggy has been found right on top of this gen. Top side, May has been unhooked, and Prada isn't caring right now. He's going to commit to Leggy, and with the ping involved, we're not able to vault the pallet in time. That's Leggy on the ground. That's a very quick down. We don't have duration to be able to potentially slug for more, but we're going to try it regardless. Prada's heading back to that hook. If we can leave Leggy on the ground and get another down onto Maya, get our tunnel out full rolling, have someone else have to rotate around to pick Leggy up, things would be so good for us. But like I said, we don't have duration, meaning the slug game is a bit more risky. We weren't able to locate Maya off of the slug, but we were able to make it back just in time to get Leggy back on the ground. Mercy had rotated a bit too quickly and nearly was caught out in a very bad position, but all things said, it did end up working out for the best for Catjam. That's a second stage. First onto Leggy. Maya, the tunnel out, is not being found just yet, and hopefully being reset, because we're leaking blood all over the place now. The power we're building up on the bottom side of the map could come to bite us later on. The other problem we're presented with right now is that Mercy is right here. Hello, that's not what I was going to say, but giving away that tag is very bad for the state of the game. Mercy now is going to try and take as much distance away from this hook, which does zone us away from main into a filler top mid. We're going to have to win some 50s if we want to live now, and Mercy is the queen of 50s, but you know, I think I've just cast a curse to her. That is her on the ground. I'm very sorry there, but this is where things are going to be really problematic. We're taking the hook. Oh, Prada, I think this is a bit of a mistake. That unhook could come out right behind us. But actually, now that I'm saying that, I'm not too sure Prada would mind. He does have his power up and all this power bottom side. We know this has to be Maya. She's going to be somewhere close by. And we have a blood trail leading us right to that. Prada's popped this power a bit hastily. Never mind, he's noticed the scratch marks. I did not see those, but we're using it as bait. We assume someone's going to be unhooking Leggy at 11. Just in case, we're heading right on back. And if there's not someone there yet, exactly like we do see, this will be Leggy going second. And we have the power to guarantee that. That's Leggy's second stage. Now, we're going to head over to 1. We know that this gen is such high progress. Look at that. Surely a survivor's close by. We did just see these crows land top mid. I'm sure those were ours as we rotated back towards the hook. So no information to be gained from that, but Prada will be looking once more for a survivor bottom. Once again, we know it's Maya. There's so much blood here. It cannot be Rothy. He is doing a fantastic job of not being found out right now. And yeah, Maya's bottom side on this gen. And we're both positioned for the save, which is exactly where we need to be. I'm sure with that slam, Prada is in fact out of power, and we're going to be sitting on Leggy for as long as possible. Now, Hasso, I will point out, Mercy is off the hook, but I don't think we need to worry about it all too much. Prada is going back, which means I think Leggy will be getting saved in this game. Rothy we knew was set up 11, but with the amount of gen pressure we have, a lot of blood that we have on the map, I don't really think we needed to leave Leggy. I think we could have just sit and forced a trade, because a trade would also guarantee us more power, and you can't really trade against Oni. It doesn't really work out for you in the end because you give power away, and well, we've opted to not trade. Prada has given the hook for free, and it now comes down to Leggy's ability to stealth out this power, Hasso.
Yeah. I tell you what, Chief. I'll say it off the rip. You are right. Rothy has played this beautifully. I mean, he stealths really well. I just think these survivors are a little bit behind in how they're playing. I just feel like they might not be as coordinated, might be a little bit slower on the comms, but keep that in mind now. Have we just...
Hello, Rothy. That's
yeah,
the wrong target.
wrong time to take a hit. Nah, just kidding. I know that obviously was not an intentional hit down, but look, that'll be a pain raise onto Rothy. All pain raises are now out the trial.
Awesome
we are currently, yeah, I mean, we're sitting at 5 hooks right now. I mean, honestly, we're playing this like a pub. We're not even really hard tunneling anyone. We've camped someone to second, but no, this is real problems now, Chief. This could be a reverse 4K4. We did see, I believe, Maya in the background. I don't know if I just saw a glimpse of Maya send it straight down the middle of the map, just, you know, just straight run down the middle of the map. But overall, going for a little bit of a break on the fella. I haven't held for long enough, so this will probably be a down here. We evade the down, and Leggy playing this out their mind. Gonna be a down here surely, right? Unless we make this pallet again somehow. Might even double vault it. We aren't gonna get the double vault off, so oh, Chief, this, don't tell me. I mean, a 4K4 a 4K4 versus 4K4, is this possible to 4K4 from here on out?
Yeah. No, it really is. I think a lot of the progress we have here is on the spot mid-gen. We knew 1 was a fair bit of progress. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 4K3 or a 4K2 if those gens are able to pop, but I don't think we're getting more than 1 out of the way. And if it was going to pop, I think it would have had to have popped right now, because once again, we have so much blood on this bottom side of the map, and now we know we have a fair bit over at 11 as well. Prada will be able to get his power back so quickly. Mercy and Rothy are still bleeding, and that is big problems. I don't think that gen at 1 is going to pop just yet. Yeah, it's not even close. It's only 50%. We've had to stealth away. We knew someone was main. I think someone's over at 11. I believe it was Rothy working that gen once more. It's going to be another massive pool of blood over there. Maya's top main. Mercy's edge 10. Rothy, sorry, is actually bottom mid, so we've left even more blood on this gen. We're going to have the same problem. There's so much blood bottom, we've left even more. So Prada's going to be able to collect this, potentially apply Eruption, and get this gen regressing once more. And doesn't really need to stress about who he commits from this point. We just need to make sure they can't be on the gens. We want to have them popping, and you know, Prada's going to be able to eventually get another kill. He'll force the 2v1, and once you're in the 2v1 against an Oni, the game is all said and done.
Absolutely. I mean, there's... Yeah, it was sort of problems from the very start. When we gave away that very fast hit tank, but hits take, but they are going to chase Mate in. This will just be a bang down. 4K3 could be on the books here, as we have popped another gen in the background, but no, we do have another gen getting worked here, so this could be a 4K2, so hold on a second. I don't want to speak too soon. That gen will be getting regressed momentarily, as we cannot commit this, but gee, there's just too much blood on the map. I mean, it's waiting for the eruption. I thought we DC'd for a sec, but there's just too much blood on the map. Hold on a second. That's another generator popped. Now, realistically, if we can send these chasers top and get away from this mid generator, we are going to spot, I believe this is Rothy in the background, possibly Mercy, one of the two, but oh, Chiefy boy, we have to play this immaculately if we're the survivors, and unfortunately, we get caught. A 4K2 in the books, it's written. Uh, Definitely think these survivors, didn't have the greatest performance, but from where they were, I think they've played fairly nice to pop another 2 generators. Because to be honest, it looks so like it was going to be a 4K4. Like I couldn't stress enough a 4K4 on the Oni when this kill is meant to be out. I mean, it is pretty diabolical. But we have pulled it back to a 4K2. I don't know who will be playing the Oni set, Chief, at the killer side for Team Catjam, but yeah, overall, very nicely done from Prada. We are just going to look for our survivor here, and we do find Mercy, but we are just going to slug because it doesn't matter. They're not fresh. It's not going to have any factor in the result. But honestly, I think this is, definitely not what Catjam needed, especially coming from the momentum that they had. I think that's just unfortunate. Maybe they're just not as confident on this kill, and it definitely will be one that they look back at and think we do get the pick onto Mercy. So, Chief, if we pop another gen, that would be beautiful. But I just don't see it happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I think the fact that both of us survivors are injured, they're both still bleeding, don't really have time to get a reset, and they're not even attempting it, which is definitely the right call to be making, especially with how much blood is still all over the map. I mean, look at all that we've got on this one side here and in main. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of blood to be playing around, and unfortunately, speaking of blood, we do see, I believe that is Mercy's blood on the ground. We're going to be able to find her out very, very quickly, and the scratch marks leading towards 11. We now have power to be able to commit to this chase for a little bit at least. We don't really need to worry about gens. We knew they'd have a lot of progress, and unfortunately, Prada's movement is just enough to get Mercy right back down on the ground after being picked up. I do need to point out, I am a little bit shocked that Catjam haven't opted to use the very strong resources they have access to on the map. I know they have a jungle gym at 2. They obviously had main, and we didn't see chases go there at all. We didn't see chases at tiles pretty much at all the entire game. We saw Shaq being used for Mayor's chase, and other than that, I'm not too sure we really managed to make it anywhere other than some filler pallets where we're forced to play 50s, and that's where Oni kind of wants you to be. He wants to eventually win those 50s and get those downs. Prevent you from playing the safe pallets and the safe resources like Shack and Main and your jungle gyms, etc., etc. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed that our survivors weren't able to use their RNG to its fullest, not even their RNG, just the resources, right? Because Main and Shack are always there, and we talk about CT1 Comp Tower for a reason, right? It's the most played map on another very well-played set. Rothy, finally in chase, by the way, has been plotted out. We will be taking our final chase of the game as we vault right into the loving embrace of Prada. 4K2 secured. But yeah, the map is the most played map in competitive Dead by Daylight, right? You know what main building is, and obviously everyone knows what Shack is, right? But everyone should know the strength of main, especially against an M1 killer. It's incredible. It's if we weren't in chase 24/7, it would be an infinite. It would be unplayable. But that's just not what we've seen. We didn't take a single chase to main, and that is really where you win and lose. You win and lose Oni sets. We did unfortunately vault Mercy, getting the last laugh there. I guess as a little consolidation to tack on to the end of this result, but. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was definitely a misplay from the survivors in their chases that allowed this to happen. We let too many free M1 tags come in that just gave Prada the ability to snowball. The fact that, like you said, it wasn't a 4K4 when it really looked like it could have been is testimony to how much resilience Catjam do have. They were able to claw it back in the end in that 3v1 to pop 2 gens, which is lovely stuff. They've gotten a result that, to be fair, I think kind of is expected. Well, not expected, but definitely pretty reasonable to see on the Oni. As much as I say it is the 7-stage outs killer, then I feel like that it should be expected. It does assume you're playing basically perfect on the survivor side, right? And when things start to go not your way, 1 or 2 little mistakes, even like I said, just that first mistake Mayor made of giving that tag away so quickly, just by losing a 50, right? It's not even generically a mistake, it's just unlucky. But things like that, they are where the 4K1s, the 4K2s really start to look like they're more than possible and honestly a bit probable. And we did see a 4K2, and it started right as I said with a very quick tag that led to effectively an M1 down. Right, we didn't leave the chase to go apply eruption, pop power on somebody else, and leave them bleeding. We just committed the chase in M1.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Chief, I can't. I'm honestly the big man, the CEO. He's on the Oni. I'm excited. I know one of the friendly members in this VC, or two of them, or everyone who's friendly, but I know Nolsey definitely definitely is like, "Oh, I can't wait to see cosplay." So this is going to be really interesting on the side of Hunter. I've never really seen Hunter play the Oni, to be completely uh honest with you, but yeah, I think overall yeah, I think we will take a very quick, short intermission, just get some water, get some stuff going, and we will be back with you guys very shortly.
And welcome back, everybody. We are loading into our second half of the Oni set, and as you all know from the big man Hasso, as he stated a little bit ago, it is the big man, the biggest man, the bigger man than Hasso himself, Headhunter 111, who's washed and bald on the killer. Will he be able to 4K2 Hasso? Maybe even 4K3 to take the win outright? We'll just have to see. Now, before I pass it over to you, Hasso, I'm going to bring up a tale as old as time, the debate. Fang v Hull LV Duck. I know you're watching and I know you're screaming you want Prada to take it because Hunter has brought Fang and you think it's the bum pick. We have this argument every time we see an Oni set because I'm a Fang believer and he's a Hull believer. And today, I'm putting it to the test. This will be the day we settle the debate. If Hunter is able to win it here, Fang is supreme, and it'll all come down to this very first tag, Hasso, which we're going to try and get on Biru right now.
I tell you what, Chief. I'll say it straight away. I am bloody excited. I don't really know what to say. I'm sort of speechless, to be completely honest. These are some really great survivors against as a man who said it himself. I'm not saying it. It's coming from him, not from me. A washed and bold survivor. This will be the first tag, yeah, unless it's a balanced landing. No, but is balance landing is allowed. Yes, yes. Okay, right. It's CT, of course it's allowed. But this is So yeah, okay. So overall, first tag early. Not too early, but early enough. Gonna get power here very shortly. Chief, talk about having a long first chase. There's got to be a point where you decide and opt not to commit, and I guess time will tell very shortly when that'll be the case, because I think this is gonna have a fair few gens pop for this chase, and I don't even know if the big man is gonna get it. Look at this RNG just running to fillers. Oh my days. Hunter, you don't make that. You don't make that. No, no, no. I refuse to believe that shit hit. There's no way that hit. He's just swung. That is as a Bravo move right there. He's gone swing straight through the pallet. There is no way he's decided to do that. I mean, fair enough. But he gets no pan raise value because 2 generators pop and there's no other progress on any other generator. So Chief, I mean, he's got a 4K from here on out without a pallet. Oh my god, Headhunter putting on a performance with a nice little flick coming in right there. He's gonna go back, have a look if he can spot out his next survivor, his next prey. He's not gonna spot the Sable.
He didn't see the Sable. Oh, Hasso, did you? Because we saw him, it was on Hunter's screen, and he's just missed it. Oh no! But he does have the extra duration to work with. He's going to be able to make it back to Biru. We know the Ader is all so close by. We're not going to spot her out either. That's so unfortunate. We might have been able to win the game here and now if we were a bit more careful, but we weren't. We didn't find those survivors. That's so unfortunate if you are Hunter. But hey, I mean, getting that down with power and being able to slug it so early and play territorial was pretty big. The only problem you have now is that not a lot of blood on the map, and you're not going to be able to protect this hook anywhere near as well as you were able to protect the one onto Fergie with your power, because, well, you've got none left, and you've not got a lot on the map. We did see a reset come in on the bottom side. Biru is obviously still top side, leaking blood somewhere, but he does have a bunch of strong resources here. We knew he played around that jungle 10, and I mean, sorry, no, Fergie was the one reset. He's the one top side. Biru is bottom side. He was the other unhook. He's being reset now in the background. So all the blood top is actually non-existent. I've fibbed to you all. I apologize. The blood could have potentially been bottom side, but even now we know it's only on this filler here, 6 mid, and it's not all that much. Beer is going to stand his ground. Fergie, unfortunately, losing the last time he did that. That's why he went down at that pallet one. You know, Beer this time is able to win it. Hunter eats that pallet to the face. Beer sends himself all the way to Shaq, and now we're on the prowl for another tag. We need to be able to get one to get our power back. We know someone's here at this filler. We did see the scratch marks. These are 8R links. We're going to have to play some 50s around this rock unless we jiggy here to pallet. Pallet? Tile 5, which we've done that exactly. We're playing the LTs, but unfortunately, this double vault will spell a tag. That is our power back, and now Hunter's in the weird position. Does he commit this? He might want the pain res, he might want the down and the extra pressure, or he might want to protect his gens, and I think he's opting for the latter. We've opted to stray away now that we've got no power. Gonna go check one. We see that Duck Dewey, our Sable, is close by, and if he's able to spot him out, it would be hugely beneficial. Getting it down on top of these pain reses, but I add, are very close together. Yet again, we're having some echoes of the dredge set with pain reses just stacked right on top of each other. But I mean, we've got a lot of gen progress now, Hasso, and this is where things get a little bit ugly. Our survivors are pre-leaving well. They're not giving away anything for free. We're not even being found. That was beautiful from, I believe it was Biru topside, but why have we popped this power here, Hasso? I'm not even sure. I don't know if we spotted anybody at all. I think Hunter's just gotten a bit hasty.
I mean, to be honest with you, I have no idea. I was playing only pubs the other day, Chief, and I was getting outed every game, as I always do, but I didn't know when to pop the power. I wanted to get as much blood on the map before I did, and maybe that's what Hunter was doing. He just wanted to get as much blood as possible, and oh, no, Headhunter. It is unfortunate. Very unfortunate on the side of the big man. Is he going to win this? He's not, so that I wouldn't even say that's a mind game, but very nicely done on the side of Duck Dewey. Very nice. Yeah, I like this so far. They're playing beautifully here. They are going to go down. I take that back. So they are going to get juiced here. Sorry, do the juicing, should I say, as the power's going to expire. And Headhunter, this generator's going to pop, baby. You gotta leave. But he's not going to have enough time to get to the generator in time. So he's just going to commit here. And I've done this against Halo too many times. You cannot mind game this eye filler. It is impossible. I've never been able to do it. It's not doable. You got to break the pallet instantly. So very nicely done. Oh, we get a little bit jiggy there. Taking the vault. So getting a little fake with the scratch marks. That'll be some distance we get here now. Very nicely done. Faking the scratch marks again. And this will be a tag here as we are in Bloodlust 1. But that is another generator popping in the background. Now, these survivors probably are cranking some other generators, to be completely honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised, not too sure which ones are being cranked, if there are. This Sable is having the chase of their life. Duck Dewey has gone around the map, gone around the globe, and he's still putting on a performance. Might even greed this here. No, we're not. So we are going to win a little late 50, and oh my god, what is this?
Oh.
What is going on with this ping?
We're winning 50s.
How are we living? What is going on?
Though.
Oh my days, we do go down eventually, and that is the final generator popping. Oh my god, what was going on there, Chief?
Yeah, you know, I did speak under you there because you got very excited to see that, but you know, I don't think we were winning the 50s as much as the 50s were winning us there. That was that was definitely the most interesting gameplay we've seen in a while, and it was, you know, Duck Dewey being able to do enough to last that final gen. The gate is open, Biru is leaving. That's only 5 stages, 3 fresh. Yeah, I don't know. I think I really do feel bad for Hunter here because I feel like the power pop we saw where he got completely stealthed, obviously ended up finding Duck Dewey at the end there, but wasn't able to get the down, was a play of desperation, and You know, it really does suck when you have to see a survivor, a killer, end up making a play like that, right? You know, it's not what you want to see. You kind of want to be able to show that your killer player is confident in their abilities and isn't too stressed about what they've got going on. And unfortunately for Hunter, I do think he was a bit nervous, and I think got a bit desperate for that win there and wasted his power. And it's what unfortunately did lead to that set being lost. You know, um, obviously the start was also quite bad. We did commit main. It is very difficult to do that. You kind of should have tried to get your power earlier. He had some blood orbs on the map that he didn't want to pick up because he just wanted that down. And if he played it a bit more traditionally, where you just care about your power from your first chase, leaves them injured, go get your eruption on the gens, and try to commit somebody else's power and get that down before they're able to pop anything, it's how you get off to that really good start, right? But unfortunately, Hunter just didn't commit to that playstyle. He committed main. Two gens pop for that first chase. Fortunately, he was able to pop power and get that down immediately and was to slug it. And if he was able to get another slug after that, it would have been honestly incredible. That is game-winning stuff right there. He could have 4K 3'd in that very moment. But the stealth from two of our survivors, I believe it was Lynx and Duck Dewey, was more than enough to be able to take the game right out of his hands. And by the time that power was over, we were kind of back to where we started. We didn't have a lot of blood on the map. We had all our survivors on the board. We had two gens popped, and things just started to feel really bad for Catjam. And, you know, obviously, that is what led to that desperation play I talked about a lot earlier. And from there, I think the game was all said and done.
Absolutely. And that being said, we'll take a quick intermission, Chief, and have the next game set up shortly. I'm stumbling with my English today. I need to go back to school, but yeah, we'll have a quick intermission and we'll be back very shortly.
Yes, everybody, we are back. We do have a spirit set for you all. We've made it to the tiebreaker. I have to say, Hasso, I'm not too
Yep.
sure how this one's gonna go. If you guys aren't aware in chat, and Hasso, I'm sure you're probably a bit aware, but you've got your Surf Monk killer on the Cat Jam. The big man himself always steps up. We talk about him being the carry job when it comes to the killers, but Maya on the spirit is deadly. She's done it for the longest time. Hell, back when I was just the lowly Twitter guy, I made so many memes about her being the God sent spirit because she was truly something special back in the day, and she still rocks up and does a job. And I'm hoping we're going to see something along those lines tonight. I'm sure she's going to put on a very good display for us right now.
Absolutely. You gotta hope that, I don't know when it was, Chief. I think it was Catjam versus Bleed Out. They had a spirit set that they'd picked, or had been picked. It was Enlightened versus Maya on the Spirit Wreckers Yard, of course, as always. So, you know, I think I do believe Bleed Out did win that one, but Maya is here to get redemption and get their team's first win. This is what I love. This is an aggressive build. Now, just to be clear, I'm not too sure. Is this combo allowed? Eruption, Call of Brian, Pain Raise. Is that allowed?
Yes, so it is. So Call of Ryan is only banned this season on our S tier killers because of the
Okay.
extra info it gives, but generically it is allowed. Speaking of things being allowed, this amount of 50s being won by Doug Dewey should not be my word. I know that is a god palette, obviously it's completely safe, but with the ping, it is a little bit easier, although all those little bonuses you get on killer are detracted from the fact Spirit's slow. Spirit's really fucking slow. She's 4.4 and she's not able to get around all too quickly when she's playing regular M1, and unfortunately for Mayout, that is what she opted to do there, but she used her phase to find her next chase onto Lynx. Unfortunately, yet again, we're playing on Wrecker's Yard, so yet another god palette to be found. Lynx here doing his damnedest to not get tagged. Mayout wasn't able to find him in her phase, and look at that, he's managed to evade all the way over to 10. Unfortunately, though, these chases are on top of our gens, and exactly that, you know, the chase ran to 10, and Fergie, who was sitting the gen there, had to leave to Shaq, but they've done well so far to not give up a free tag in a bad position, although May is now exactly where she wants to be in terms of being on the map. You know, she's on the top side. It's where the non-corrupt gens are. 10 has been erupted. We can't get back on it all too easily. We have the gen deep 11, and Shaq is most likely going to be something that's going to get work now. But Biru has been spotted out. Fortunately for him, Sprint Burst has done just enough to buy him the distance he needed to make Shaq without a tag, and he's going to play the window for a little bit before eventually heading to the palace. We will see him do so here. This is effectively cross-map distance, and unfortunately for Maya, even more distance to be gained as we use Champions of Light to get away there. She's oh so slow and has opted to head back to 10. Fortunately, finally, we get our first tag, but it comes at the cost of a generator, Hasso.
It does indeed, Chief, and, you know, I think we are starting to get a little bit lost in our own scratch marks. I think you know, we'll get the down here, and that'll be the eruption proccing in the middle of the map. So, oh, Chief, Spirit's one of these sets. I don't think I look heavy. Just from, in my opinion, I don't think many people. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think compared to other sets, people like Spirit at all, because you need to be you have to be perfect. You have to tell people to shush. You have to tell them to shush, shush, whatever it is, however you say it. You need to be quiet when they are phasing, and that is a problem that will build on these survivors if they don't have clear comms. But clearly, they are doing something right because they're comming very nicely. That is a little bit of a delay for comms there, but very nicely done here. And that is the light. Now, Chief, I don't know about you, but these exhaustions are low-key killing Maya really badly. We've seen so much value out of all of them.
Yeah, we have indeed. Unfortunately, I think Maya is doing a fair bit of just walking down when she doesn't particularly need to be, but I mean, hey, she's definitely a lot better of a spirit than I am, so I think she's probably got a method to the madness there. And look, we've preserved a lot of our phase to be able to get another quick down onto Lynx. I say quick down, another quick down even, but it's really only the first quick down that Jen at who knows where, probably the one at Shaq or 5 is near to popping. I believe it was one of those two. It was Shaq indeed. It was doubled by Fergie and Duck Dewey. So finally our second gen has popped. 2 gens for 2 stages, I can't say is all too peculiar. But as soon as you get down to that 3v1, things are going to become a lot more problematic. If you aren't too aware, Hassa, by the way, the average is still out on this map, although at one point we believed this killer was S tier and was expected to get a 4K. Definitely not the case. The killer is well and truly an A tier killer and is well and truly expected to still get outed despite the fact it has access to the stronger perks on the killer side and not access to the very strong S tier survivor perks that you would normally see for the Blight or the Billy. Although, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the situation we're in right now, and unfortunately for Maya, I think we kind of just need to get this down very quickly. Again, secure our tunnel out, because as we did notice, as we headed over to Biru at 10, the gen was pretty high progress. I know Fergie's on another gen, as you can see on the HUD, it's about to be 50%, and if Lynx is able to last both those gens popping, getting down to a 3v1 at 1 gen is basically guaranteeing the outs I was talking about a bit earlier, but there you go. We're not going to be able to do that. We're not lasting all too long. We recognized that chase was going to be short, so making the heads-up play, Fergie will be resetting Biru in the background, making sure all our survivors are healthy as we head into this 3v1, as we do enter it at 3 gens remaining. And I must point out that we do have a fair few gens bottom side. Still, obviously, the one at 10, which we knew was being worked, but we have one at 5, we have one at 7, and one deep 6. It's a pretty loose 3 gen, but still a 3 gen that we can hold nonetheless, with the amount of mobility Spirit does have. These closer gens are pretty easy to traverse around. It's once you get to traversing out of them and back where you're going to have problems. So it's going to become very, very important for our survivors to pre-leave. But speaking of pre-leaving, we're not going to be doing any of that at 5 as that gen slips through our fingers. The 3 gen I just talked about is already gone. That's our 3rd gen of the trial popping basically for free. We haven't been able to find a survivor in the time since we've downed and killed Lynx, and although I think we've just spotted somebody out here, and maybe we didn't, Hasso, it might have been a crow, maybe I'm mistaken. I thought we did see someone on that car 10, but we have not, so we're going to head over to 8 and hopefully find a survivor here.
Absolutely, and Chief, you said it beautifully. We have spotted out a next survivor, which will be Duck Dewey. Absolutely, I love that name. I almost said despise, but that is not what I meant. I love that name, Duck Dewey. It just rhymes beautifully. It doesn't even rhyme really, but they just go together beautifully. And I think this Survivor team, oh my goodness, what a fun. As I was saying, I think this Survivor team is very confident on the Spirit because they've clearly allowed this killer to come through, and obviously so has Team Catjam. But I think one thing you have to take out of this, especially between these two teams, is you really need to make sure your comms are clear because, like I said, if your comms are not clear, it's only going to screw you over. And this has been very nicely done from Duck Dewey. He is having a beautiful chase so far, just burning up all that time needed. We are going to get a little bit lost in the sauce, but that is, Chief, that's beautiful death spot, no? Like, you could have made it a bit further, but that is a really nice death spot overall.
Oh, it's nearly picture perfect. You are right. The only thing that would have been better is obviously touching that edge map wall, but when the gens are so far away, oh, I guess they're not that far away anymore. We have 8 and 6, but 10 and 11 are very high progress, and 10 is a gen that I think we're still trying to work, which is a little unfortunate for our survivors. Maybe a better death spot would have been all the way touching that 3 corner. Speaking of death spots, Biru might need to play for that exact one now, as he's found 6, and with Sprint Burst in hand, he's going to be able to avoid this tag, playing very risky on that pallet. We make the vault. May has used her phase, and we aren't able to catch out Biru just yet. He's going to play back to deep 6, which, I don't know, I think is a little bit risky, but when we're not taking a tag early on and we can just play around the pallet, we've got all the things we need to last, and we've used that Champions of Light there with Fixated to be able to avoid being spotted out, leaving no scratch marks, effectively moving at full speed, gets us right where we need to be, out of the way of Maya, and because of that, Beer is all the way at 5, and Maya's just going to have to leave it. Duck Dewey has been spotted out, though, yet again, caught with his pants down right in the open. That will be another tag onto him. He's going to be able to make Shack. We know there's no pallet, and if Maya's able to collect a quick down, things could be good, but instead of prioritizing that, she's heading back to 11. We know Fergie is somewhere. That gen is 60%. It is the one at 11, as we've just now spotted, and Maya is going to go and look around. We get our eruption set on it. Call O'Brien's going to make that gen be eaten away at 150%. And Fergie isn't found, the things are going to look really good for our survivors, and Maya will need to spend time looking, I think, but instead, we're heading back to 8. I think she's just as paranoid about this gen at 8 as she is the one at 11, although I can tell you for a fact, and as we have just seen, there's not anywhere near as much progress here as there was there, and this is our Sprint Burst survivor. This is the strongest survivor in Chase. He's got all the things you want against Spirit to be able to last, and I mean, hey, he's not going to avoid this tag here, but he makes it to another God pallet. We have one at 5, and we've got Crane up at 3. We're going to send it right to there. Maya's going to have to commit this now, but I believe Beer is going to be able to make it around Crane just in time. Yeah, he uses Champions of Light to be able to avoid getting found early on. Drop the Crane pallet. We'll have another go around Crane in total. Maya should do her best to keep him here for as long as possible. Phase right on top of him and get that down. Beautifully here as well, you see that pain res 5. That's a lovely hook to take, but it's come far too late. We weren't able to get that down. Biru's done just enough to avoid that pain res. Isn't going to hit the gen at 11. We did just see it pop, and the only thing it's going to hit is the one at 8. Maya does win that 50-50 on a God pallet, and we'll take this hook. Eventually, that gen that Fergie is now sitting on, which is 10, my word, it's being doubled as well, will be hit by pain red, so we're going to be needing to get off that sun. But maybe we stick the double now. No, we don't. I'm glad that is not the decision that was made. Maya is aware that 10 might be whirring, and she's headed over. Duck Dewey, once again, spotted with his pants down. We've seen him in the tile. Not going to be able to stealth away, but makes the heads-up play to start running. Unfortunately, running right into a wall, Hasso, and I mean, hey, maybe Maya can bring this one back now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ball is really in Maya's court to perform here, and it is tough because it's never easy playing Spirit sets. I can't stress enough, Chief, how painful it would be to just what's the word? Just, play the killer and listen and have everyone be quiet. Now, I am going to do something. I am going to glance over to Catjam's VC and see if Maya is deaf, and she isn't. So this is clearly saying something. So we have Mercy, Leggy, Visvia. So we have a few survivors in there that aren't muted, probably helping with the comms. But it is very clear that on both sides, you have to just have the clearest comms so you can hear where the survivors are, hear where the killer is. It's very important as we are going to take the chase here on to Fergie now. Chief, 4K1, that's a beautiful result, no?
100%. I think that's an incredible result. Obviously, you know, I've spent a lot of today talking about expected results and what you should be getting. Spirits outs, Oni's outs. I said it a lot, but we are on ping. We do have an OCE team versus an SEA team, and that does mean the ping is about 100. Fergie obviously now eating the ground. That is another fresh hook and a pain res for us to collect. And we did see there Biru was, I believe it was Biru who was picked up by Duck Dewey. It might have been the other way around. I'm sorry, I did look away for a brief second and miss that. But they've also gotten the resets, so lovely stuff for them. This does give them the ground they need to get back in the game. But that gen, probably at 10 once more, has been hit by the pain res, and we're going to have to stealth away. Duck Dewey just had a little jitter there as he crosses down the map to make for this unhook. And May is now in a really dominant spot. You know, these hooks are... Sorry, this hook is basically in a position where you can view all of the gens at the same time. I think we've also just spotted Duck Dewey running in. I'm not too sure, especially with the hill here. We could just sit right on top of it and protect everything all at once, but you know, May is playing a bit more territorial than that. Duck Dewey, we obviously can see, is on that hill, so if we had ventured over there, we would have found him already. Unlucky for Maya, but maybe she'll spot him now, because he's not too hidden on the high ground now. Unfortunately, though, May is actually just going to opt to phase away. I think she's faked it, though. Yeah, we're right on back. We've just played the bait and switch, and Duck Dewey hasn't fallen for it just yet. And if Maya was to just look up, you would see the man playing for the save, but we haven't done it. We've opted to stray all the way back. Fergie's going to get unhooked, and look at that. He has second win. If he's able to avoid getting tagged through that... Speaking of avoiding getting tagged, Duck Dewey's done none of the sorts. He's really just been caught out of position so many times this game. It's honestly pretty funny how you just see him pop around a corner and just appear in the chase. And once again, on the ground for him, we're going to slug. There's no point to take the hook. We need the pressure. 10 is whirring, and May is all too aware. Once again, she's going to be heading right over there. It now comes down to will she locate Biru. Once again, fixated and champions of the light. He's going to be able to use those perks in tandem to get so far away without leaving any scratch marks and making basically no noise. And for Maya, that's where this problem is going to start to arise. I mean, look, Biru was all the way 11, but Maya's found him. She's ventured to 12 now in pursuit, and I mean, a down here needs to come quickly. I don't even know if we have eruption on that gen at 10, but unfortunately, I think it's a little too late now. Duck Dewey and Fergie have managed to be picked up and reset. They're both bottom side now working a gen. Look at the gen they're on. Biru did get swung through that pallet, but he's taken distance after it. He's going to be all the way through. The ideal death spot I was talking about earlier, also dying after Vault from Crane, so such a long time to make it back down. We're going to take the pick. We knew probably that gen at 10 was going to pop, and it is so close. So May has probably conceded the gens and is taking the stages at this point. She might even play for something more. I'm sure she's going to head over to this gate. It's so close by to the hook, and if we aren't too careful, Duck Dewey might be caught out once more. May is in phase. I'm not too sure where she is, but we'll be finding out very shortly. Considering Duck Dewey is playing so aggressively, I'm going to assume that standing at 5 isn't what she's actually doing. Yeah, no, this is a spectator bug. Maya is not here, I think. Maybe. I can't tell. Maybe. Oh, no, she's 3. Okay. There you go. She's on Duck Dewey. There you go. And that could potentially be another hook state, and if this is to be left on hook to die, that would be what? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? 8-4, which is a pretty good result, and Beard's still here. We're going to be able to potentially get the down onto him as well, and if Fergie doesn't rotate in right now to get the pickup, this could be more than 8. It might end up being, what is that, 10 stages? Fergie's going to potentially be playing for it. He's stealthing over on the 10 side. That's where the gate is, and I'm gonna head over back to Duck Dewey and try to get the pick and put him on a hook. And you know, if Fergie isn't careful, this will just be him found once more. There's no beamer to worry about a save, so I'm gonna take the hook, and now it's all up to Fergie to send it down to Biru at 8. The hook's gonna be taken basement, so if Fergie had sent it, he would have got it, but he's not moved. We've decided to stand still, Fergie. You're not saving the stages, man. You're gonna be heading for Biru right now. Maybe he's getting a bit greedy. I don't really know what the play is. You can't be doing this, though. Why are we standing still here?
Odd. Odd, to say the least. But, hey, Fergie might know something, Chief, that we don't. So, if we pick this, you gotta send it in, brother.
What? We're leaving. We're leaving. What? Brother, why did we stay in if this was the plan? I don't understand. I'm confused. I'm really confused by the decisions we just made. I think all in all, Mayor's pretty happy with that result. 10-4 is beautiful, especially to be able to clutch up so hard in that end game to get those stages. I don't really know what happened in that end game. I'm confused from the killer being stuck at the hook 4 to getting the tag on top of Crane 3 to having both survivors just not get saved.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, we've gotten a good result in the end, and it might have not been in the way we were expecting, but good result nonetheless, and we'll now have to see who's going to step up for Reactor and see if they can beat that. It will come down to Catjam survivors once again to see if they're able to collect their first win of the season. But Hasso, I think
Yep.
we're going to head to a very quick intermission before we find out the results of this one. So please, if you are with us in chat right now, make sure you stay with us. We will be back very, very shortly as we do get this lobby set up. I'm going to go grab a glass of water, and if you have the time to, I recommend you do the same. Stay hydrated, kids. We'll be back very shortly. And we are loading into our final set of the Catjam versus Reactor match. We're going to find out if Catjam will finally get their first win of the season, Hasso, or if Reactor are going to potentially start their charge to making finals. I'm actually not too sure if it's possible, but this would be their second win. And I think the people above them in 5th place only have 4, so it's doable technically. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Yep, it is
Absolutely.
barely doable. So let's see, Hasso. Let's see.
I'm interested, Chief. I really am interested because we talk about players having clutch moments, and you know, I think one thing out of this is we spoke about it in the casters lounge when we went into intermission. Is the controller, the PlayStation slash Xbox, I believe it is PlayStation for Rothy, but the PlayStation are on ping. So, Chief, I don't know about you, but I don't have exit, like I don't have money to spend like that. But there is no doubt that playing controller on ping on console, that is not fair at all. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't help. Oh, Prada has been blinded mid-phase. That's some lovely stuff from Leggy, but no, you are right. Having a console player on ping is effectively giving yourself a survivor who has twice the amount of struggles in chase, and it's not something you can really afford in such a close game like this. Unfortunately, for our survivors, their tunnel out isn't even going to be that survivor, and having them in the 3v1 does just mean that having to play that safer playstyle can be that all bit harder, especially when it comes down to having to last and chase in such crucial moments like a 3v1. It's going to be really, really difficult, you know? Fortunately, I do believe that Leggy is one of their strongest survivors, so hopefully he's going to be able to last the entire game. We're not going to get a tunnel out. We might just see him last the whole time if you are Catjam, but it will come down to our progress that we have on the map. Our stealth right now, I believe this is Fizz or Rossi, as we do not see them on a gen. Stealth and out the killer. It's exactly what you need in this position. We need this gen at 6 to pop, and we also need to get Leggy off this hook for free. Maybe even see an FTP come out if we're so lucky and Prada strays too far away from this hook, but with the level of experience he does have, Hasso, I don't think he's going to give away that hook for free, and I don't think he's really too worried about the stealth of Rothy anymore. We've just spotted him out, and he's holding the sprint burst to be able to make it away. He's going to pass this pallet at 7, and if he gets tagged now, Hasso, I would say we're in the danger zone for Catjam.
Yeah, absolutely. Highway to the Danger Zone. A great song, but definitely not great when it comes to DBD. So, I tell you what, very nicely done from Rothy to just send it away. Mercy Death getting caught in the fog, not great, but we are going to send it back towards Hook now. Chief, a bit of switch in perks, running the Sloppy Butcher. Now, this is a perk that we've spoken about. You enlightened me on some information yesterday about how Sloppy Butcher is the best perk on Wraith. Now, this perk you can get so much value from, but the real question is, like, against Spirit, do do you slug or sorry, not slug, do you hit and run and do you reset? Because I feel like you have to reset against this killer, no? Because you make so much noise when you're obviously phasing. So it's like, what do you think is the smartest option to do? Is it reset or just stick the gens out?
Well, look, Hasso, the reality of Sloppy Butcher on this set is that you kind of, when you get your, oh my word, that Dead Hard. Sorry, I also need to point out very quickly, speaking of Dead Hard and the perks we have on hand, we didn't see an FTP come out onto Leggy because he is our FTP survivor. He has the classic FTP Dead Hard, so that way you can prevent the tunnel out and then have a very strong exhaustion to last and chase. It's done him no wonders here, but the Dead Hard was beautiful nonetheless. We've managed to make it edge 12, which is exactly where you need to be dying for this state of the game. We're going to get dragged to 2 on this Pain Res hook, but our Pain Res has been used. We also saw another gen pop, and I think it was Mercy we did see somewhere in the background was on another gen that was about 50 to 60%. It might have been this one at 3, I'm not too sure. We'll just have to see if this is her that will get found shortly. If she gets found at all, my word, that's some beautiful stealthing. Go on. Yeah, we've managed to stray all the way away. Lovely stuff. And look at this gen at 8 Hatho. It's about to pop as well. We have some pretty damn good progress for this few chases from Leggy. Like I said, we might not be able to play for this tunnel out if we're not careful. The gen progress is insane. Unfortunately for us, though, the gen progress at 3 will have to be abandoned. But this one at Shack that we did see Fizz working doesn't have to just yet. But sorry, to answer your original question, Hasso, because I did just harp on about the state of the game for a fair bit. Sloppy Butcher is so good on this set for these situations exactly, right? Fizz is just giving away a tag with Leggy's on hook. You need to go get that unhook right away, because if you phase right on top of Fizz, they're going to be down and out, and that's definitely problematic. But it also does bait the unhook, is exactly where you want to do it. And you're right, playing injured against the Spirit is really difficult. It gives away a bunch of info because you're making a bunch of noise, and obviously you are pretty quick to down when you only have a single health state. We did get a reset into Leggy, which is exactly what you need, and because he is our Dead Hard survivor, he effectively has another 2 health states to work with in this chase, and for a tunnel out, that's exactly what you need right now. And he has a few resources on the bottom side and no gens to worry about, so I dare say committing this chase could be the reason we end up losing. If we aren't too careful, Leggy's going to have to do his best to last, but unfortunately taking this tag down to deep 6, leaving that pallet gem is not where you want to be. We're going to have to do something nice. We're playing the M1. If we drop this pallet, we could be death. We need to somehow win the 50s and not get done in by the phase. Phase comes in, it's a short phase. We do send it away. We know the Dead Hard's there. It's been baited out. That's Leggy on the ground. That's not the chase you wanted to see. Unfortunately, we enter the 3v1 at 2 gens remaining. I'm really hoping we're going to see a gen pop very, very shortly on the side of Catjam. In the background, Mercy did get reset. But finally, Hatho, I'll address your question. I apologize. Sloppy is so good because, like we saw into Fizz, you can kind of stray away from your hook, get that hit, and even when you get that unhook or that reset, that extra hit, it makes those resets so much slower, and you need to get those resets. It's really, really important, especially if you enter the 3v1. Sloppy in a 3v1 basically means the resets can't come in at all. You're sacrificing so much gen progress. Speaking of gen progress, there goes our 4th generator of the trial. We're not out of this one just yet. Catjam still have what it takes in the bag to be able to clutch this one up. I'm not too sure where our gens are, but I know 3 and Check are very close by. And you've got a survivor with a very strong exhaustion of life now in chase. Mercy Death is going to be able to pop off here. Drops the pallet, doesn't take the hit through it. That's exactly what you need. Has a God pallet to play around as well. We can win a vault. We're not going to with that first one, but we're going to take a good tag up to 9. Unfortunately, it was for not a lot of phase, so if she isn't able to make another resource, she might just be on the ground very, very quickly. But we've done just enough to avoid the phase. Unfortunately, still not enough around for us to make much distance too. So that's going to be her first hook of the trial and another Painters. We obviously now see Rothy and Fizz doubling that gen. I believe that's somewhere near 10 or 11. I wasn't too sure. I didn't honestly pay enough attention to notice. Oh, sorry, we're all the way at 1. Wow, these gens aren't great. I need to point that out. These gens are pretty holdable. A 3 gen is going to be really, really tough. And unfortunately now, Mercy kind of needs to be off that hook and reset.
Yeah, absolutely, Chief. I think the problems, pardon me again, gee, keep coughing, but I think the problems here really do start to rise. The Sloppy Butcher comes into effect. Honestly, I don't want to say it because they've done so well, but it does look like if we get this down nice and flat, hold on. Is that second wind, Chief, that's just happened in the background? No, don't run towards the actives. No, 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 not towards the actives, not towards the actives, not towards the actives. No, no, no. That's the last thing you got to do. I know that, and I'm terrible at this game. We cannot run towards the actives. That's the last thing we got to do. Fizz is going to get caught off guard. And now we just need to send it all the way to the bottom, realistically the top side of the map here, because that is what's going to be crucial. Now, in a situation like this, you have a nice 3-gem for Prada. Prada's playing this really well, by the way. Just complete props to Prada. Really nicely done so far. But only at 4 stages, so anything is possible. These gens are getting pumped, but we really need to take Chase away from the active generators, because how long it can take Spirit to get her power back. Sometimes it is problems, and we are resetting the background. And sometimes, as I was saying, sometimes it is problems, especially considering, you know, you have to play, you know, oh my god, sorry. It can be problems because she gets her face back so fast, but this is what they need. They needed to take the chase as far away as from those gens as possible. And I tell you what, Mercy's done that. Mercy's done that beautifully. That is a really good play from Mercy to get far away. But now the problem is, Chief, they have to get these motors working. They have to, because, you know, this gem over here might be getting worked. It's not. All the pressure's gone, Chief.
Yeah, a lot of the pressure is gone, and we also did see them committing to doubling that gen every single time somebody got into chase, and I think they needed to concede the fact that doubling wasn't going to be the way they were popping that gen. Mercy obviously now also needs to not be found. This is crucial. If she is found right now, I would say the game is, unfortunately, she's just been found out immediately. I've casted the curse with my words, Hatho. That's tragic, but oh, we're not even going to be able to win the 50. That's Mercy on the ground. The 2v1 is forced. I think this is going to be a 4k1. This gen at 2 is only 40%. Rothy isn't going to be able to do much. We have to play a 2v1 with the split gens, and that's what I was going to suggest we do in the 3v1. We needed to be splitting Shaq. I think Mercy needed to get reset and not be found, and split Shaq and not worry about 2, and then Fizz and Rothy needed to play topside for that gen at 2 and double. Maybe you can double Shaq. Either way, the person from 2 needed to be leaving to 11, and the person at Shaq needed to be leaving to bottom, and you just need to play your distance and split and not give away those free tags and just be as far away as possible from Prada at all times. Unfortunately, we didn't do that, and now we've entered the 2v1 because of that situation. We knew we didn't have a lot of gen progress to worry about, which is why he was able to stray all the way to 6 both times for Mercy's hook states, and unfortunately that is probably why we're gonna get 4k1. I don't see a world where we're gonna pop another gen, you know. Prada doesn't really need to commit a chase to allow a gen to pop, and if he does, it's gonna be a crucial mistake, and all you've got to do is kill... Oh, actually, no, sorry, you do need to get at least one hook onto a survivor and then a kill onto another. Unfortunately, I think Fizz has gotten a bit stuck there. We have to play the pallet in this tile, and this is really dangerous. Now we short phase and swing through it immediately. We get the Eruption Aura on Rothy at Shaq, and this is the 4k1 Hasso.
Chief. It is very unfortunate for the side of Catjam, and the Eruption has just got us in the bum. So unfortunate. I think, Chief, I think one thing that both teams need to take out of this, Chief, is, and I know you'll agree with me here, they have both got so many positives to take out of the match. 110%. Both teams. They played... You know, Oni was a bit of a struggle for Team Catjam, but they did back it up here on the Spirit. Maya had a really good performance, and unfortunately they couldn't pop this final gen. But overall, a 4k1 is really good for Team Reactor. Incredible result, but that will spell the end. And, you know, both teams, again, like I said, need to take some real positive notes out of this, because I think they've performed incredibly well, and, yeah, just... going for a little bit of a hump onto Fizz. I'm not too sure if we're lagging or something, but no, we're just going for a hump. No, we're following. I don't know what's happening, but the point that I'm trying to make is there's so many positives to take out of this. I wouldn't say there's any real negatives to take out of it. Yeah, what are your thoughts, Chief? Because I think they've played this really well.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not wrong. I don't think there are too many major mistakes that really pop out, other than the 4k4. I think the 4k4 on Dredge was a bit of an anomaly on the day, but the rest of the results were pretty standard, I guess. You know, they were obviously 4ks on sets that I think are well and truly outable, and, you know, we just weren't able to do enough on the side of Catjam on the day, but it was a noble effort maybe next week, Catjam, I do believe you'll get a win this season. I truly hope to see it, and maybe next week will be your time if this one was not the one. Would have been very nice to see it this week, personally, Hasso. I know you were feeling the same way. As much as we talked about trying to not be biased, very clear that we do have some skin in the game when it comes to this team. And yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't their day, but that is a beautiful win collected by Reactor. And like I said earlier, this could be the start to their march to the finals. We'll just have to wait and see how they perform for the rest of the season and how their group pans out. Anything can happen. It's not out of the cards for them just yet. So we'll just have to wait and see, Hasso, won't we? But speaking of you, Hasso, I think you might be saying your goodbyes.
Yes, I will be. I've been waiting to eat my pizza. I gotta eat it with the fam, so you know how it is. I can't eat it when you're speaking. It's just part of the rules. So I will be heading off for the night, but don't worry, I will be back next week. But we have some really good games in store for you guys tonight, so don't go anywhere. And yeah, Chief, I think I'll be watching on the big TV. Not even kidding, I will be watching OSL on the big TV in the living room. So it will be a good one to be watching. So thank you for having me on board as always, Chief. Love casting with your mates. And with that being said, I think we'll go into the intermission, have the next game set up with you. And yeah, that is the Big Hasso signing off. I love you all.